energy, where we think the power starts with you. So yeah, the energy savings, everything you want to do, electrify Australia, we're here to help. Yeah, but we need you guys to get on board. So the first thing I want to talk about today is the battery rebate as well. So that's kind of complicated and it's kind of dynamic at the moment. It's changing a lot. So it's hard to know what you're going to get. So we'll go over some of that as well. So firstly, who here's got solar already? Pretty much 90% of people, not everyone. Who's got a Tesla Powerwall 2? Oof, we got one. We got one. Tesla Powerwall. Okay. Who's got a high electricity bill? Oh, no one's got a high electricity bill, all right. Don't worry about it then. Well, you guys already got solar, so you're keeping it down. Yeah, so the cheaper home battery rebate started last year. It's still going. They didn't expect it to take off as well as it did. So they originally allowed for 2.3 billion and it just went bananas. They thought people were going to get 13 kilowatt hour batteries and everyone started getting 48 kilowatt hour batteries for some reason and soaked up a heap of budget in the first 6 months. So they've readjusted it. So now it's going to be $7.2 billion that they're putting into solar batteries between now and 2030. But the only catch is they're reducing it slightly and it's staggered, so you get the full rebate up to 14 kilowatts and after 20 kilowatts, after 14 to 28 it's 60% and 28 to 50 is 15%. So they've readjusted it so you get the full benefit from a smaller battery, and if you're being maybe a little bit greedy then you don't get so much money from the government. But I'll explain a bit more about that in detail as we progress. So one of the first things you want to consider is, do you already have a solar system on site and what do you have, so how we're going to connect to it. Tesla Powerwall is a great product, AC coupled, so we can connect this to any site realistically. So, I mean, who recognises this? Does anyone have one of these at home? Fronius? Good old Austrian inverter. They're pretty good. Their battery's okay. I don't want to say anything, but a lot of people have those or just a single string system. Now, for that, we can add a Tesla Powerwall 3 to that system. And if you don't have solar at all, then we can have a Tesla Powerwall 3 and we can connect the solar straight into the inverter built into the Powerwall 3. So the first thing we want to do is work out what system you've got on the roof, how much solar you have. We might want to look at how many panels, because we need to see how much excess power you have to put into the battery, because some people might only have a 2 kilowatt solar system and they're using 40 kilowatts of power a day, and they don't actually have enough power to charge the battery. So we want to make sure you've got a big enough solar system on the roof already that is going to be able to generate excess power to put into the battery. If not, we might actually want to add more panels to the roof. So maybe if you had another side of the roof here, we might add some more panels on the other side and connect them into the Powerwall 3 when we do the installation. So yeah, that would be AC coupling. So here's a bit of a diagram here. So solar panels are going to go into the existing inverter, which goes to the switchboard, and then we can put a Powerwall on the other side of that. So if there's a few people, they call it different things. It's either called a retrofit installation or an AC coupled installation. So you guys that already have solar panels already, most likely you're looking at a retrofit or AC coupling of your battery when you install one. So the other way that we could install it would be DC coupling. So this would be if you don't have solar already, or if you're adding more solar panels to the system. So here, we actually connect the solar panels directly into the Tesla battery and then run it back to the switchboard. So the Tesla, Steve will tell you all about it soon, but the Tesla actually has a built-in inverter in it as well, which can go up to 11 kilowatt inverter, which we can overload up to 20 kilowatts of panels. So really quite a lot of panels that you can get on this thing. So we weren't able to do that until recently, but now we've got a really good product for it. Switchboard upgrades. Now, this is where a lot of people get stuck, especially if you go to some solar companies and they just quote prices over the phone, they don't ask for these things, and then they'll rock up on the day, they'll send a subcontractor on the day, and then he might ask you for $2,000 extra or $1,000 extra for a switchboard upgrade. If they didn't check it, if it looks like this, it definitely needs to get upgraded. So yeah, you want to check out your switchboard first, because there might be an extra $1,500, $2,000 cost if you don't have something that's recent, or even something with the right types of RCDs. So that's something that we've got to look into. So here's another newer switchboard. Now this one looks better. It's still not quite good enough, and I'll tell you why. This here is a 2-pole RCD, and this feeds these single breakers here. And these 3 here, this board isn't even labelled properly, but these 4 aren't protected. So we could install a Tesla Powerwall here, but we couldn't provide backup power to the house on these circuits, because if we're going to provide backup power to the house, we take responsibility for all of the circuits downstream. So these are actually, this is too old, this is not compliant, and these are not protected. So if you've got a switchboard like this, we'll need to replace these with type A RCBOs. So there might be, this looks like $600 charge to upgrade those to type A RCBOs. So something to look out for. Also main switch sizing, this one looks okay, but some people only have 32 amp main switch or something like that, or maybe even a 6mm mains with a 32 amp switch. So it is good to check the mains size as well. But yeah, we can also replace these with single poles, which I'll show you next. So this is basically what we're looking for with a switchboard. So if you've got a switchboard like this, there's a 95% chance you're right. We just have to check these are type A RCDs, RCBOs instead of type AC. So that's one thing we have to look at for all of our backup circuits, just to make sure that the safety is as good as it can possibly be. So yeah, this is the one thing we look for. So if there's type A AC, so this one line, we can't use those for backup. We need type A, so these 2 wavy lines. So if we've got 2 wavy lines here, then we can use those circuits for backup. Because yeah, I mean, one of the reasons that people get a Tesla Powerwall, one of the main reasons people get it is for backup. So you don't want to find out that your switchboard it's not going to work, or it's going to cost a lot of money to upgrade. You'd rather find that out sooner than later. But I just wanted to run you guys through this so you can have a look at your boards at home, and yeah, when you're getting quotes, you get a bit of an idea. So the other design consideration when installing a battery is the cable runs. Now with the Tesla Powerwall 3, we actually have to run a 16mm cable out to the battery, which is quite expensive now. Copper prices, like everything, are going up. So if we can install a battery, this is an installation here, you can see this is actually double story, but if we can install a battery over this side, it's fine. But if we have to put this battery in the garage, you can see we'll have to run a 16mm twin and earth cable up, across, down. So this could be 25 meters of 16mm cable. So it could easily be an extra $1,000 or $1,500 in cable to have a battery in a garage like that. So it's good to be mindful of the battery location, and I'll run you through some more battery locations in a sec of where you can put it. Garage is good. Direct sunlight is not good. I've seen a lot of people used to put inverter shades like Bunnings awnings over them, but over a battery they don't really actually provide much shade. So there's a few other options that go all the way over, but yeah, you want to keep the battery out of direct sunlight, because it's like any electronics, doesn't like the heat. So if you don't have solar and you are looking at getting solar, it's great to do it and get the battery at the same time. About a year or two ago, 2 years ago now, we used to recommend most people get solar panels first, leave it for 6 months, see how they go, and then get a battery. But now everything is built into an all-in-one unit. We recommend just doing it all in one hit, because the Powerwall has the inverter there. So Luckily, the inverter here has 3 inputs, so we can have 3 strings, and we can actually parallel those strings. We have 2 here in parallel, so we could have up to 6 strings on this roof. But there's just some considerations. It's about, depending on the panels, about 12 panels per string that we can have. And yeah, so up to 6 there. And like I said before, we can go up to 20 kilowatts of panels on one Powerwall 3, which is quite a lot. So even though the inverter is only 11 kilowatts feeding back to the grid, the excess will go into the battery and charge the battery. And yeah, especially if people get expansion packs, 2 or 3, it's definitely worth putting more panels on if you can fit it. The general rule, most people in the industry will tell you the general rule is just fill the roof. As many panels as you can get is generally a good idea. So yeah, here you can just see we've got the inverter rating of 10 or 11 kVA. We see how many panels we've got, so we can go up to 200%. So yeah, obviously the system size, for those that don't know, if we go, this is 480 watt panels. So if we have 480 watt panels, 21 panels, you put 21 times 480, equals 10 kilowatts. So that's how we can work out the size of the system. So the battery rebate, so this is the new structure for the battery rebate that's going to happen for the rest of this year. So for those that don't know, there's STCs, so we get, the rebate is called STCs, and we get about $37 per STC. So for the first 0 to 14 kilowatts, we get 6.8 STCs per kilowatt. And for 15 to 28, it's 6.8, but then only 60% of that. And then for 29 to 50 kilowatt hour, then it's 6.8 times 15%. So it's staggered. So it's really front loaded now. So on the first Powerwall you put in 13.5 kilowatts, you get the most rebate. The second, when you go up to 27, you get a good rebate. And then after that, it tapers off. But most people, to be honest, most people, I think 2 is enough. Some people get 3 or 4, but I think 2 is plenty. And the rebate is also going to be reducing every 6 months, well, between May through December, and then every 6 months up till 2030. So here, we'll run you through this if you do a quote with us, but here you see the first 14 kilowatts right now is $258 per kilowatt hour. I get grilled for saying kilowatt. But after that, you're going down to $217, $198, and then right down. So if you wait till 2030, you're looking at around $80 a kilowatt hour. And that's only on the first 14, and then it's going to be 60% or 15% after that. So the time to capitalise is now, because even at the end of this year is quite a big drop, a $40 drop. So with the eligibility as well, so we do get this a lot. A lot of people ask, is the rebates means tested? And the answer is for this, no, it's actually not means tested. They just want to get the batteries out there. They don't care. I mean, so we have some people with the solar VIX, they weren't able to get it because they were earning over 210,000 between 2 people, but that's not an issue with this. So anyone in Australia can get it, as long as they've got solar on the roof. They don't need to join a VPP. Anything up to 50 kilowatts of battery storage, you can get the rebate. So that's good news for everyone in this room. So it's complicated how it works out, so I thought I'd break it down. So on a 13.5 kilowatt system, so one Tesla Powerwall, the rebate is $3,367. On 2 Powerwalls, it's $5,476. So 2 Powerwalls is really the sweet spot, as I was saying. And if we go for 3, it's 6,100. And then for 4, it's 54 kilowatts, is 6,438. So you can just have 4 just stacked together like that. If you look up at the front desk, we've actually got 2 there that they're actually live. This one over here is a demo, but those 2 we actually hooked them up, so they're feeding off the panels on the roof. So you can see how quiet they run as well. And yeah, I just want to talk a bit more about the locations where batteries can and can't be installed. So we'll breeze through this to not be too painful, but they're habitable rooms. So we can install one here, but bedrooms, you can't install them into bedrooms or roof spaces, under stairwells, in enclosed spaces, just due to the risk of the flammability of the battery. But yeah, I haven't seen one catch on fire. So yeah, not Tesla. Yeah, there's also clearances. So the standards in Australia are always written off a worst case scenario. So we can't have it within 600 mil of an open door or window. So a brick wall is good because brick wall is non-flammable and there's no windows. So here we couldn't have it here because it's too close to the door. So it's just one thing to consider when you're looking for somewhere to store, because we generally need about 2 metres by 2 metres across. Can't have a gas meter or an air conditioner or anything like that within that exclusion zone. This 600 by 900 here just has to be anything that's associated with the battery. So we can have an inverter or an EV charger or a gateway in that zone, but we can't have anything else. So often we come up against gas meters and air cons. But yeah, where batteries can be installed, ideally we're looking for garages. The only issue there is we have to have a bollard, but we actually have some of these nice bollards, which are, if you can see, they look a bit better than the yellow ones. Garage is ideal if you've got the space for it. Otherwise, outside, external wall, preferably out of the sun, as I said earlier, not near a window. So yeah, we can help you with that, but yeah, that's usually often the hardest thing. Yeah.
You made the comment before about a Bunnings awning.
Yeah.
What is the level of heat you can have? I've got the garage, but it faces west. So if the garage door is open, it gets hot.
Yeah. Are you saying if the battery was in the garage, but the garage door was left open?
What's the level of heat it can get?
I'd say they can handle a fair bit, but I mean, not all day. I mean, I wouldn't leave your garage door open on a 35-degree day. During any other time of the year, it'd be all right. I'd say if it was over 30, maybe close it. I haven't seen any of them. Like I said, I haven't seen one catch fire from direct sunlight yet. It's more of a regulation to not have them in direct sunlight. But I think it's like a lot of electronics. Like even if you leave your phone in the sun, your phone will overheat and your phone will automatically shut down because the electronics just can't handle the heat. So I'm sure there's something built in to shut them down anyway. Steve?
Just on what that gentleman was saying as well. I mean, I've got my Tesla Powerwall in the garage, but during summer when it's a hot day, 40 degrees,
yeah.
It does get extremely hot. But I noticed that the Powerwall has its own, looks like a fan or something that cools things down. But it's like it gets really hot, probably more hotter than inside the garage and outside.
Yeah.
Part of my presentation there, I'll speak more to it.
You talk about the limits, yeah. Yeah. I'm like, should be fine. Sounds all right. Yeah. So clearance is usually 600 mil clearance to either side, 900 above. And yeah, if it's going on a weatherboard wall or something that might be flammable, then we might have to put a cement sheet behind the battery, just in case. So there's another diagram, yeah. Just nice big clearances. We just can't have anything too close to it. Yeah, a garage here is good. If you've got like a nib wall here and you can tuck it in behind there so a car just slips past, it's all right. But inspectors usually like to see a bollard in front of it anyway, unfortunately. It's a bit annoying. But yeah, there's an example of a bollard. It's not the best example. Like I said, we'd use a white one and put it a bit closer, but that's what we are looking at in a garage. So this is a cement sheet where that wall was obviously flammable, so we had to put a cement sheet there to make sure that if anything did happen, that the fumes wouldn't burn through. So with that, you can paint over it as well. If you have to do it, you can, to make it look a little bit better. This is the first installation with yellow bollards wasn't us. These are us. But this is a recent one we did with 3 Powerwalls. So you can see actually a car would drive through from there, and yeah, we've got the bollards tucked in nice and tight, so no one can run their car into the Powerwalls. And the other thing I wanted to just talk about quickly before I hand it over to Steve to go into a deep dive is Amber, which is, who here's heard of Amber? Okay. So Amber is a really good energy retailer that we recommend. It can really increase the return on investment for batteries because basically I think we've got it on the screen up there. So they'll give you access to the wholesale price for energy, and that will change every 15 minutes, half an hour. And sometimes it's really good, sometimes it's not so good. But if you look now, this is not live, this was the other day. It's 25 cents to buy, and then at the same time it was 0 cents to sell. But if you could hold on till 6:30, if you had a bigger battery with more capacity in it, so 27 or 40, if you could hold on till 6:30, you could sell the power for 7 cents. I've seen it go very high as well. I've seen it go up to 30 cents on a hot day when the demand is really high. And I've also seen the grid price in the morning. It's not uncommon for it to go down to 10 cents in the morning as well. So if you're looking to increase the return on investment for a battery, Amber Electric is definitely worth looking into to see if it works for you. Because the price is variable, it doesn't work for everyone. Some people don't like the variability of it. Some would rather the certainty of the fixed pricing. But generally, when you do the fixed pricing, you don't get very good feed-in at all. So yeah, that just gives you one option to make a little bit more money off the battery. That's pretty much all I had, Steve, if you want to come.
Well, thank you very much, Luke. That was a great presentation. And I'll jump into a bit of the product fundamentals. We've got a little video for you guys here. Yeah, it was just the first one. It's probably a bit too long, but we're good now. But first off, thank you guys for coming in today. I know we have very busy lives, and we do appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to come here during the evening. So I'm here from Tesla to talk about the Powerwall and what it can offer you guys. Now, before we begin any of our presentations, we typically begin with our mission statement, which for those of you that follow Tesla, you might notice that it has changed recently. So previously, our mission statement was accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy. And in reality, we are still on that journey. But at Tesla, we like to think, 3, 4, or maybe even 5 steps ahead, or even more than that, really. Which is why we've changed our mission statement to building a world of amazing abundance. And the idea behind that is that with the developments of AI, this is very power-hungry future that we're going into. And so it's incredibly important that we power the future with clean energy. So much so that we have an amazing abundance of free energy. So it doesn't matter if you leave the lights on at home and you go out for the day, or you've used your AI system too hard and it's taking a lot of energy, because we've now got enough clean energy out there that we don't have to worry about that anymore. However, we're here today to talk about the residential homes that you guys live in and how you can contribute to a cleaner grid. And so the sustainable all-electric home typically starts with an electric vehicle and a wall connector, or perhaps starts with solar panels and a Powerwall. However you do it, it doesn't matter. But eventually, if you get to having an all-electric home, then of course, ultimately, that leads to a cleaner grid. Now, when designing the Powerwall 3, we had to ask ourselves, what do we need, right? And it's really quite simple. We needed a product that would offer more power and performance, would be easy to expand on, would be, of course, durable and can be built for all climates, which we'll touch into later, and will ultimately offer the best value for money for our customers. And now, taking it back a step to the Powerwall 1, which we launched about 10 years ago, and how we got to the Powerwall 3. So the Powerwall 1 was great because it showed us that we can store energy from the sun during the day to power your home during the night. The issue with the Powerwall 1 is that we relied on a third-party battery inverter and a third-party PV inverter. So what that means is that it makes the installation more costly, more complex, and as soon as you have different companies involved doing different things working together, it makes it a little bit more troublesome if ever something was to go wrong. Which is why we quickly shifted to the Powerwall 2 about a year later, where we actually integrated the battery inverter into the unit, which meant we only relied on a third-party PV inverter. Luke was talking a little bit before about AC coupling systems, and this is essentially what the Powerwall 2 allowed you to do easily. You install a solar system, you install the PV inverter, and then you can AC couple the Powerwall 2 to that system. Now what we've done with the Powerwall 3 is we've also integrated the PV inverter into the Powerwall 3. So what that means is that if you have an existing solar system, you can still AC couple it like you did with the Powerwall 2, since the Powerwall 2 has a battery inverter in it. But because we now also have an inbuilt PV inverter, you can also directly couple the solar straight into the Powerwall. So if you don't have a solar system already, you don't need to spend a couple of grand on a PV inverter. Just put your panels directly into the Powerwall 3. And if you do have a PV inverter already, there's probably no need to rip it out, although you can. You can just leave it there and then add new panels and also couple those new panels into the Powerwall 3. So it's a really exciting product, and we'll touch on it a little bit more in the next few slides. But ultimately, with the Powerwall 3, we're wanting to make sure, of course, that it will offer the best performance, be the most durable product out there. Once again, would be scalable to install and would offer the best value for the end customer. Now, when we take the Powerwall 3 apart, you'll notice that there's not many parts in here. So at Tesla, we really believe in designing a simple system that's built to last. The more components you put, it might look nice on a spec sheet for the first few years, but how do we know that this system is still going to last in 5, 10 years and beyond? We plan to be here for a while as a company, so we have to think of where our customers will be at in the future as well. And so we've got this beautiful glass front cover, as you guys would have seen in the front. We really want to make sure that it's aesthetically pleasing and that you can be proud to attach it to your home. At the end of the day, the way that I see the storage system is the heart of the household, right? It circulates energy throughout your household appliances, and so it's really critical that you invest in a good heart, but also one that looks good that you can show off to your friends and family who come over to your homes. We've got the Tesla Asset Controller, which is essentially the brains of the device. We've got an air intake and a cooling fan, which will help keep the system operating at its optimal temperature, which we'll touch on in more detail later. And ultimately, we've got the cast aluminum chassis, which is where the battery pack sits. We've also got expansion packs, which Luke touched on slightly before. What the expansion pack is essentially a copy of the Powerwall 3 minus the integrated inverter, right? Because you most likely don't need more inverter capacity. So why pay for another inverter if you want to expand your system? What the expansion pack allows us to do is to continue to expand whilst keeping the cost down as much as possible. In terms of system configurations, what's currently supported is that you can have up to 4 Powerwall 3s and up to 3 expansions on the leader Powerwall 3. And so if you do want to have more inverter capacity and more panels out there, you can. Each of the 4 Powerwall 3s can have up to 20 kilowatts of solar coupled to them. However, for most homes, we see 1 Powerwall 3 and 1, sometimes 2 expansion packs. Now, this is something that's come out very recently, which we're really excited to announce. It's actually my first time presenting it in front of an audience, which is our expansion pack increased charge rate. So at Tesla, we always want to continue innovating and running updates for our existing customer base to make sure that they continue to have better systems over the life of that product. And so what we've done with the expansion pack is charge rate is really interesting. But before I go into how the expansions charge quicker, I just wanted to explain to you guys how the Powerwall 3 actually works. Again, Luke touched on it before, but looking at it more closely, you can see here that you can couple up to 20 kilowatts of solar via 3 high current MPPTs, which help mitigate shading issues. With the 20 kilowatts of solar, you can power the home at up to 10, sometimes 11.04, depending on what area you live in and what regulations will allow. And then you can charge the battery at up to 5 kilowatts, utilizing a total of 15 kilowatts of energy at any given moment. Now, the reason we cap the battery charging at 5 kilowatts is because, once again, we think about the health and longevity of the system, and we wouldn't want to be charging it too rapidly because that will degrade the battery over time. However, when you add an expansion pack, or maybe even 2 or 3, what we've now done is unlock via software the ability to take more of the inverter's capacity to charge those expansions more rapidly. So previously, if you had an expansion pack, the charge rate remained at 5 kilowatts. So the system is basically going to be one large unit, and the charging was going to be split 5 kilowatts throughout either 1, 2, or 3 expansions. By increasing it to 8, it's going to help you guys charge quicker and therefore, of course, help with the return on investment, because that means you can power your loads or send money, through a virtual power plant such as Amber, and of course help with the financial aspects of this purchase. Now, we like to overpromise and underdeliver, so we're guaranteeing 8 because sometimes the site will be a little too cool or it'll be hot, and we want to make sure that it's going to be charging at a healthy rate. However, if the conditions are right, we're actually going to be charging at 10 kilowatts. So if you guys end up getting these systems, you might notice that it's in fact charging at 10, not at 8. 8 is just what we guarantee. Now, looking at the expansion pack charge rate into a little bit more detail, we've got a slide here which shows you the Powerwall 3 with 1 expansion, 2 expansions, and 3 expansions. We've got the gray bar here that shows how many hours it takes to charge with the old firmware versus the new firmware. And then we've got, so the gray bar for the old firmware and the blue bar for the new firmware. So you will have noticed that with the Powerwall 3 only, it stays at 2.7 hours for the full system to be charged up. That's because we leave it at 5 for that health and safety. However, as soon as you add an expansion, this is where we start to see the drastic reduction in total charge time. For example, with 1 expansion, it's now 3.4 hours instead of 5.4. And if you've got 2 expansions, it's now 5.1 instead of 8.1. It's actually quicker to charge 2 expansions with a new firmware update than it would have originally taken to charge 1 expansion with the previous firmware. And so it really is quite exciting when you put numbers to it like that. You can expect to see about a 37 to 40% reduction in total charge time. And so what this means is that you can now power everything, right? So a washer and dryer, a heat pump, charging your EV. These were things that with previous generation of products we weren't able to do at full capacity. And so that means you get more power however you use it, whether you join a virtual power plant and have more storage that you can push out to the grid, helping clean the grid and also giving you a financial benefit, whether it's for more backup protection, right? So if ever there is a blackout that occurs, you can continue to have a great time in your household as opposed to some of your neighbors who would not have such a system installed. Charge on solar, We'll touch onto this a little bit more, but if there's any Tesla vehicle owners out there, we've got an ability to do some smart charging for it. And then retail tariff optimization. So we've got our own algorithm that's built into the Powerwall, which allows you to essentially charge and discharge intelligently to give you the best financial investment return. So what the retail tariff optimization is, you simply go into the settings part of the app. You select the cost of electricity at the different times of the day, the different seasons of the year. You input all of that information in, and then the Powerwall will know to charge when it's cheap and to discharge when it makes sense to do so. It's also the most durable product. So this is a picture of a real Powerwall that we dunked into a water tank when we did our launch event in Australia a couple of years ago. It is a hermetically sealed unit, which means that it will be there to power your home when you need it most, even in case of a flood, which of course we hope won't happen. And you can see there, it can take quite a lot of water, up to about a meter. It's also built for all climates. So we were talking about this earlier, but whether you're in the Rocky Mountains of Canada, where it can be -20, or whether you're in the Australian climate, where it can go up to 40 or even 50 degrees, the Powerwall 3 will be able to operate just fine. How does it do this? It's with its active fan cooling system, as well as the fact that it's built in that aluminum enclosure, which helps dissipate the heat. So if it is a hot day, if it goes above that 50 degrees, that's where the Powerwall will just shut itself off. However, if it's getting close to that 50-degree range, it'll just operate at a lesser efficiency. So you can be quite confident with these. We actually have nothing in the installation manual that says you can't install it in the direct sunlight. It's preferable not to, because you'll be able to have a more efficient system. But if you must, it can be done. It's also got heat mode, which is built within the firmware. So what heat mode does is during those colder climates in the winter, it will actually take the last 7 days of data. So it knows when the sun hits the panels, at what time during the day, and the Powerwall will actually start to preheat itself so that the battery is at the optimal temperature so that it can essentially take that energy from the sun as soon as the sun hits the panels in the morning. So these are the little extra efficiencies that you can get with the Powerwall 3, but rest assured, it is definitely a product that is built for all climates. We've got a little video here for you guys of our Gigafactory in Nevada. This is where we build the actual units.
This sound from the laptop, that's it.
That's fine. So as you can see here, we can build a Powerwall 3 every 25 seconds. And what this means is by producing a product at scale, we're able to reduce the costs and therefore allow it to be more affordable despite it being built out of high quality parts and with a really intelligent software system that's embedded within it. You'll be able to see here that we also don't compromise on safety. So we do testing at the system, cellular, and modular level, of course, to make sure that there won't be any hiccups, or very little. Definitely no major ones. And then, of course, we can always monitor and optimize everything through the Tesla app. So if there's any vehicle owners out here, you might already know what the Tesla app looks like when it comes to your vehicle. But what I wanted to do now is show you guys what it looks like on the Powerwall side of things. So we can see here, we've got the home screen where you can essentially see how much solar is being generated at any given moment, how much of that energy is going to the house, to the Powerwall, or back to the grid if you are selling it back to the grid. You can tap on impact, for example, which will allow you to see exactly how much of your household is powered by solar, by your Powerwall, or from the grid. And you can also see on how many savings you've made, whether that's on the day, on a week, month, or yearly basis. You can jump into settings and optimize things on the time of use mode, like we've explained before. But this is also where you would go to set up your backup reserve. So some of you might want to have 20 or 30% of the battery that is never going to be used for your daily consumption. It's sitting there in case a blackout occurs to take you through that night until the sun hits the panels the next day. However, some of you might want to put that backup reserve to 0 and rely on our Stormwatch feature. So what our Stormwatch feature is we work with the weather network, and with this API that we've developed, we're able to start to charge the battery ahead of a storm if we see one's coming. So typically we catch most storms on the Stormwatch, and so you can feel free to put your Powerwall at 0% backup reserve, use 100% of it for your daily needs, and trust that if a storm is coming, it's very likely that the Powerwall will catch onto it and start to charge from any means necessary at that stage. So not only from the solar, but also from the grid to make sure that you're covered during the potential outage. Charge on solar. So for anyone with a Tesla vehicle, what this allows us to do is the Powerwall will communicate with the Tesla vehicle to ensure that the charging is optimized. Now, how that works is most of you will notice you don't need 100% of your battery to drive to and from work every day. It might be 30% or 40%. Whatever that number is, on the app, you can just select where you want it to charge at for your daily needs. For example, 40% as shown on here. And so the vehicle will charge from the grid or any means necessary to get to that 40%. However, once the 40% mark is hit, it will only start to charge off excess solar because there's no need to pay for that, right, if you don't need it. And this is really exciting. We've launched this morning, actually. So, it's been a long time coming. Our Powerwall 2 customers have been wanting to expand their storage with the Powerwall 3. However, we have shut down they've been wanting to expand their storage, but we've shut down the Powerwall 2 line and sold out of Powerwall 2s. So what we've now done is we've developed a firmware which allows Powerwall 2 owners to essentially add a Powerwall 3 to their system, and therefore also an expansion pack 2 or 3. So this is again an example of how our previous customers who were maybe early adopters still get to see benefits with the brand and product that they trusted. Now, we did say coming soon. We're still working on the firmware. I can't share timelines, but I'm always pushing the engineers to hurry up with it. Cheaper Home Batteries program. I won't spend too much time on this because Luke did a great job explaining it. But essentially, the government's allowing us to take advantage of this wonderful program to allow you to install storage on your home and help clean the grid. So at the end of the day, what this means is that by getting a Powerwall now, you get more energy capacity for less. You get to offset your energy usage, of course, lower your electricity bills, increase your energy independence, be prepared for power outages, and ultimately power your home with energy from the sun, which is a great feeling. We also want to take a moment to recognize and celebrate that we've installed 1 million Powerwalls globally. So it is quite a significant feature. We actually have over 100,000 Powerwalls installed in Australia, combining the 1, the 2, and the Powerwall 3, which is also a really, really good thing to note. So Australia has the highest solar rooftop penetration in the world, and thus we have a high storage add-on to that solar as well. And especially now with the Cheaper Home Batteries program, we're really seeing an uptake in storage. With that said, we do have our 1 million Powerwall rebate, which is ending pretty soon, actually, on the 31st of March. So what this means is that if you purchase a Powerwall 3 now or an expansion pack, you can get up to $1,500 off, which will be paid via an a virtual Visa reward card. And so how to sign up for it? It's all done on the Tesla Energy website. So you can literally Google Tesla Energy Rebate. It'll be the first thing that pops up. All you need is a sales contract from a certified installer, such as Lightning Energy. Put in your name, email address, sales contract, upload it, and then you will be good to go. However, you might notice that the 31st of March, does that mean I have to install it before then? And well, no, we're allowing you guys to install it up to the 30th of September. So it gives heaps of time. We know how busy installers are these days, especially in Australia. So just you get the chance to lock it in before the 31st of March by submitting your sales contract. And then once the system is commissioned later in the year, you go back to the Tesla Energy Rebate page to submit the final part of the application. I have seen a couple of hands up. I've only got a few more slides to go, and then we'll
do a Q&A at the end. But
jump into some Q&A, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. So ultimately, this is the Powerwall 3, guys, right? So we wanted to offer you backup protection, the ability to be self-powered, save on energy bills, and ultimately monitor your energy through the Tesla app. And this, once again, is what the all-electric sustainable home can look like and can be what your home looks like very shortly. With that, guys, we might jump into some Q&A. Luke, did you want to come on stage? So the sales window is from the 6th of November to the 31st of March. So if you have already purchased a Powerwall between that window, you would have a sales contract, which means you can go to your to the Tesla Energy Rebate, or even if you have an invoice, that will work too. So long as either the sales contract or the invoice states that this was agreed on between the 6th of November all the way up until the 31st of March, and that the application is submitted before that expires.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah. Any more questions? Surely. Yes.
You mentioned that it works well with the Tesla car.
Yes.
Do you have any, I don't have a Tesla car, I have another brand. Is there any feature that kind of gets something similar that I can use the Powerwall with that car?
Interesting question. I mean, the engineers can do a lot of things, is what I'd say. For now, we want to keep it a closed ecosystem. In the future, though, we may look to unlock it. However, there is no solid time frame for that just yet.
For charge on solar.
For charge on solar, is this what you were asking about?
Yeah, I assume I can charge it normally, but the charge on solar was the...
Correct, for the charge on solar feature, yeah. Other than that, it of course still works as it normally would.
Yeah. More questions?
Sorry, I just want to ask, is your battery rebate tied into the amount of panels that you have, or are there separate systems? So if you want to buy a battery today, you can get panels later? How does it all?
Yeah, you can do that. So you can only get the battery rebate once when you install the battery, and that's the battery STCs or BSTCs. So that you get one shot. If you add more in later, so if you go for a 20 or 13.5 kilowatt hour battery and then you want to add another one, an expansion pack in later, you won't get rebate the second time, but you will get the rebate if you put 27 kilowatt hours of battery in the first time. Now, there is the normal STC rebate for solar, which is separate. So if you install a new system with solar panels and battery, then you'll get battery STCs plus solar STCs. And it's all essentially proportional with the size of the system. So the more solar panels you put on the roof, the more rebate you get. The more battery you put in, the more rebate you get, but it gets smaller over time until it gets to 50 in it. Yeah, the battery rebate, that's just a bit front-loaded because too many people were getting big batteries, and yeah, I don't know, I guess they're making too much money. So yeah. Does that answer your question? Cool, yeah.
Back to the question of the heat. My garage faces west. So what happens when the battery's full? What happens when the battery's full? Does it just stop as a pain? What happens?
Yeah, if it doesn't need to charge anymore, then it's not going to charge anymore.
Heat from the west.
I wouldn't be concerned about the heat. In terms of like whether the battery's gonna, catch fire or not, I wouldn't be concerned at all. Oh, I mean, yeah, definitely better to try to keep it away from the sun if possible. But if that's the only option that you have, then...
Put a cement sheet there or something?
Oh, look, I'm sure Luke can think of some creative ways to
Yeah.
cool it down.
Look, there's two steps to this. So there's the Tesla installation requirements, and then there's the AS3000 installation requirements. So yeah, there's the full regulations for the electrical wiring, and then there's just what Tesla say. So as far as what Tesla say, it's fine. It's just in Australia we're not allowed to put batteries in direct sunlight, and it's very vague the way that standard is written, the way it says not allowed to be in direct sunlight. So I think if it's in a garage, I really can't see it being an issue.
Yeah, and for context, I'm from New South Wales, so I don't know if we see different things here in Victoria, but I know it is a very different landscape depending on where you actually live.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that as long as it's just the direct sunlight for like 6 hours a day on a 40-degree day. I wouldn't recommend it, but could probably handle it. It can work underwater, so. Oh yeah, just depends if you want to be the one to test it.
Is there a problem with supply? Is that a stupid question?
No, it's a great question, and we have ample supply. When we launched the Powerwall 3 at the beginning, there was definitely high demand versus the supply, but we've really ramped up. As we saw in the video, we print these things every 25 seconds. So
That's for the world.
Yes, but even for Australia,
I read the other day that there's been a take-up of 250,000 batteries. Not just Tesla, but batteries.
yes.
So to get the rebate, all you've got to have the contract at sales mode.
Yep.
Even if the supply is in May or June or whatever.
Well, to get the battery STC rebate from the government, it has to be installed. So there's that rebate, and then there's the $750 per Powerwall up to 2 Powerwalls from Tesla. That's a separate one. So Tesla will give you that $750 or $1,500 if you sign up before the end of the month, and then you've got till 6 months or so to install it. But then the battery rebate's based on the date that it actually gets installed. But stock is not an issue for us at the moment. Like, they've got quite a lot, and they're sending them. I actually told his boss about 6 months ago, I said, send as many as you can to Australia. She said, what's the forecast for the next 6 months? I just said, send as many as you can.
When the US heard about the Cheaper Home Batteries program, they definitely redirected a lot of focus our way. So yeah, we've got lots of supply.
Yeah. More questions?
What about the safety? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you're right.
What are the safety features on it?
I mean, in terms of the safety features, it's kind of like what we were speaking about, right? Aluminum enclosure, which helps dissipate the heat, and if there was anything, it would help to contain, any hot stuff that would happen in there. But also, even like on the internal parts, a lot of the internal parts are actually made to just like self-melt if anything would happen and not cause a fire. So yeah, you can definitely rest assured that it is a safe system.
What is the lifespan of battery?
Good question. So our warranty is 10 years, unlimited cycles. Unless you're going through a virtual power plant, then there is a throughput warranty, but that's still, even if you were fully cycling your system once a day, it would last roughly 6-7 years before the warranty would be no longer. But on the standard warranty, so it's 10 years, unlimited cycles, and that guarantees that at that point in time, it still holds at least 70% of its capacity. And of course, you always can add expansion packs onto it later if you felt the need for more storage.
More questions?
Yeah. What's been your experience if there was an issue, 10-year warranty, but how quickly does Tesla or the installer actually come out and what is the issue?
Yeah, I'll answer this. So we've got 550, 600 out in the field, Powerwall installations that Lightning Energy's done. I think there's been about 2 or 3 warranty replacements, and customers let us know, and yep, it's been all good. Within about 1 to 2 weeks, they'll send another one out. Then they actually, to replace it, they actually pay us quite well as well. So then we get paid to go out and replace the battery, and the whole thing is done and dusted in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And like I said, that's way less than 1% from my experience, from my data. You know, like I said, we're talking 2 or 3 out of 600. So it's very, very rare. And when it does happen, they just jump straight onto it and get it sorted.
Yeah, good point there, Luke. It is a parts and labor warranty. So a lot of other brands out there will offer a parts warranty, but then the installer has to go back to site and either charge you or, you know, cop it on the chin, as they say. So yes, it is a parts and labor warranty.
Yeah.
Any brand of inverter can be compatible to the Tesla battery, or?
Yeah, for AC couple, then yeah, what kind of inverter do you have? Do you know? Grow Watt? Yeah, it works with Grow Watt. Yeah, that's totally fine. So we can AC couple to literally anything.
Yeah, spot on.
I've been told you could AC couple to a wind turbine.
Okay.
I think James told me that.
We can definitely get creative if you have any sites like that.
We said, yeah, I didn't want to do it, but yeah, it said, oh, it's just a CT, just measures the load. Okay.
You should be able to do that. Yeah, I don't see why not.
Yeah. But yeah, any inverter. So that's what we love so much about particularly the Powerwall 2. We don't have it here actually. We've got it up in our office upstairs. But the Powerwall 2 just worked. Just slap it on anything. It was all good. Didn't matter. It was basically a one size fits all solution, and the Powerwall 3 even more so because it's got the inverter built in as well. Because what a lot of people find is they don't actually have quite enough solar to charge the battery fully. So probably half of our installations or more where we put a Powerwall 3 in, we're actually increasing the size of solar and putting more panels on the roof and just running them straight into the battery. So when I talked before about AC coupling versus DC coupling, we actually do AC, DC coupling at the same time, which sounds kind of funny, but works really well. More questions? Julie, anyone?
There's a lot of content, guys, so you know, it's normal if you missed a part. There's no silly questions. You know, feel free.
Okay, cool. Well, if you guys are all happy, then yeah, we'll finish the talk here. But yeah, that's my team of designers are at the back if you want to talk to someone specifically. And yeah, me and Steve will be here if you want to have a chat to us. But yeah, thanks for coming.
Thanks, guys.